Smiley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Wednesday, January 24th. Okay, so today we have the moon in Cancer pretty much all day, but we will see that moon in Cancer go void, of course, at 5:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're shifting into Leo energy very early in the morning, Thursday, January 25th, which of course is going to set us up for the full moon taking place in Leo energy later on in the day. So we're definitely building in intensity. We're building in a change of heart. We're seeing things differently. We are understanding that we're at a very pivotal point where choices, where decisions are concerned on what it is that we want to pursue from here, what it is that we're breaking away from, what it is that we want to create, what it is now that is motivating us to make the changes that are necessary in order for us to see a different result in our physical realm, in our physical reality. So, with that being said, there's going to be a lot of intense heart activations. If you haven't listened to this week's Ascension forecast, I'm going to recommend you do so. This is going to kind of paint a picture on why it is that you're thinking the way that you're thinking, why the way you're feeling, and why some of the particular ailments and discomfort starts popping up with these energy shifts. We also have to keep in mind not only is the full moon in Leo a full-blown heart activation? Again, Leo, the heart and soul of the zodiac. But we just had Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, shift into Capricorn energy here yesterday on the 23rd. So again, another heart activation. We're making some very serious, very somber choices and decisions that are going to set us up for the long term. That may include collapsing, ending, providing a closure to certain situations and circumstances, especially where relationships and money matters are concerned. But nonetheless, we have a greater, grander vision. If we don't understand what the greater, grander vision of the future is, we sure as hell know what we don't want it to be. And that can actually be a beautiful framework for us to really decide to choose to make the changes that we need to be making. So there is a huge level of intensity, especially on our heart space. Now, there are 7 different aspects taking place here today. 5 of them are going to involve the moon. The sun in Aquarius energy is going to make a positive interaction with Chiron, the wounded healer in this Aries energy. We love this because, first of all, the sun is shining a bright light in Aquarius energy. Where can we free ourselves? Where can we liberate ourselves? Where can we be more independent? Where can we make some improvements, especially with how it is that we're operating, how it is that we're seeing ourselves, how it is that we're feeling about ourselves? Because, of course, Chiron, the wounded healer, is this identity shift that we're currently going through. So the sun kind of interacting with Chiron is shining a bright light on where it is that there are some decisions to be made, where it is that we are growing, we are healing, we are making extra efforts to repair the pain, the trauma, the wounds that are keeping us stuck in old looping cycles. The moon in her place of power in this Cancer energy going to make a positive interaction with Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings. Jupiter is in Taurus energy, a very low and slow buildup to creating new opportunities, new, let's call them paths for us to be walking on. Now, the moon, again, in Cancer energy, typically speaking, very attached to the old, very attached to what it is that we've already built, already created, what it is that is working well for us, even though we have a skewed perception of that because we tend to romanticize the past and our current situation with this moon in Cancer influence. Now, granted, this is a positive interaction between the moon and Jupiter, which means that we are growing in our confidence to make the changes that we know that we need to make. We are building ourselves up in our self-esteem, in our self-worth, in order for us to choose differently. Yes, it is a little bit of a back and forth being pulled between what once was and what could have been versus what presently is and what will be. But at the same time, there are options and opportunities that are now presenting themselves, again, heart activation, change of heart space, that seem a little bit lighter, brighter, and more, I'm going to say, in alignment with our soul selves. The moon is then going to get into the boxing ring, square off with the North Node in Aries. So of course, this isn't going to feel good. This is the struggle between, do I let go of the old? Do I abandon what it is that I've built, what it is I've created, who it is that I've had to be? Or do I want to actually stay with the same old, and continue to get what it is that I've already got? Now, this is a tension point. This is a conflict point, but we learn a lot from being uncomfortable. We learn a lot between not having our heart and our head in alignment. So this is going to show us where it is that we do have the opportunity to change, to grow, to heal, to repair. But there is a very strong part of us that is desperately holding on to the past, to what it is that we've built, what it is that we've created, in fear of that we don't have what it takes to actually create the type of reality that our heart and soul is trying to kind of activate us in order to pursue. The moon is then going to sextile, beautiful interaction, with Uranus, the Great Awakener, who is retrograde in Taurus energy. This is the breakthrough. This is the aha moment. This is when we shift our perspective, our understanding, when we shift our heart space, when we shift our narrative out of holding on desperately to the old and suddenly realizing where it is that we could do things differently. And because of that, actually get a different result, actually see a positive change in our physical realms due to abandoning the old emotional mindset, the old attachments, the old version of self. So this is really going to help us put into perspective where it is that we've been holding on to fear, and essentially where it is that we're overriding that fear narrative to see what else we could actually manifest in the place of the things that we're no longer resonating with. The moon is then going to make a tough interaction with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, ruling over our roles, responsibilities, systems, structures, foundations, willpower, discipline in this Pisces energy, which is really challenging our belief system. So this is a tough interaction. We are going to feel the weight of the world on our shoulders. We are going to feel the weight of the world on our heart space. There is going to be a lot of fears, a lot of doubts, a lot of insecurities that come up in order for us to realize what it is that we're consciously choosing to not only create, but to believe in. Because again, we are creating whatever it is that we actually believe to be true in our mental plane, whether that's a good narrative, a bad narrative, a truth, or a falsehood. That is what we're creating in this here and now. So this is definitely going to kind of exaggerate where it is that we're feeling this power struggle, where we're feeling these fears, doubts, and insecurities, and that in itself should be an indicator on what absolutely needs to change. The moon is then going to trine, beautiful interaction, with Neptune, who of course is in his place of power in this Pisces energy. This is water on water action. This is very cleansing, very healing, very changing, very transformative. It's also very nurturing. We are nurturing and cultivating and strengthening the connection with our higher selves, the connection with our soul self, with the visions, with the dreams that we're now being downloaded with in order for us to kind of change our pace, change our direction, and start pursuing things that actually make our heart and soul happy. It's at this point, 5:59 p.m., again, Eastern Standard Time, that the moon will go void, of course. And just a couple of minutes later, we're actually going to have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, and how it is that we express ourselves, in this Capricorn energy, tunnel visioned on our long-term plans, our long-term goals, what could be if we got our shit together, got a path, a plan, a strategy together, making a positive interaction with Neptune in this Pisces energy. So this is like blending our imagination, our intellect, and our intuition with the logical, practical realm of our mental plane. We are sorting through the downloads. We are able to understand and now articulate the vision, the goal, the dreams that we're now trying to piece together. It has been very foggy, has been very confusing, but we are gaining little tiny bits of clarity, especially in considering what it is that we no longer want to experience, what it is we no longer want to pour into, what it is that we don't want to be experiencing 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years from now. Again, that Capricorn energy is really focused on the long term and willing to make short-term sacrifices for the long-term gain.